Walk into any park at 6 in the morning, my friend, and tell me what you see. You'll see a handful of men, maybe 2 or 3, moving with intention, running, stretching, walking with purpose. And almost every one of them is under 40. Then look at the benches, look at the windows of the cafes, look at the cars idling in the parking lot. That's where the men over 60 are, sitting, watching, already winding down a day they haven't even started yet. This is not a coincidence. This is not nature. This is not what happens to a male body when it crosses an arbitrary line on a calendar. This is a pattern, and a chosen one, and almost every man over 60 has fallen into it without ever realizing he was making a choice at all. I'm going to tell you tonight why this happens. Not the comfortable reasons, the real ones. And then I'm going to tell you exactly how to climb back out of it, even if you haven't moved seriously in 20 years. Stay with me to the end. Because the fix is simpler than you think, and the reward is greater than almost anyone has bothered to tell you. Let's begin. Let me get something out of the way immediately, my friend, because this is where every conversation about older men and fitness goes wrong. It is not your body. Your body did not betray you. Your body is not the reason you stopped. The body of a 60-year-old man, even a 65-year-old man, even a 70-year-old man, is still extraordinarily capable. It can build muscle. It can build endurance. It can move heavy things. It can run, swim, lift, walk for miles. The science on this is now overwhelming and undeniable. Men in their 70s have built more muscle in 12 weeks of training than they had at 50. Men in their 80s have completed marathons. The biological ceiling is far, far higher than the culture has told you. So if it isn't the body, what is it? It's the story. The story you were handed, the story everyone around you is also living inside of. The story that says, past a certain age, men slow down, settle in, and accept that their athletic days are behind them. This story is so pervasive, so unquestioned, that almost every man absorbs it without ever noticing he absorbed it. He starts moving less. He starts identifying himself as someone who used to be active. He starts using phrases like, "at my age," and "back in my day," and his body, hearing this every day, begins to act accordingly. The body doesn't decide to stop. The mind decides to stop, and the body, obedient creature that it is, simply complies. Then the man looks in the mirror and concludes that his body has failed him, when in fact his body did exactly what it was told. This is the first and most important thing you have to understand if you're going to fix this. The reason so few men over 60 are athletic has almost nothing to do with what is biologically possible at 60. It has to do with what is culturally expected at 60, and the willingness of almost every man to quietly accept those expectations as truth. The men who break the pattern, the ones who stay athletic into their 70s and 80s, are not genetic outliers. They are simply men who refuse to accept the story. That's the entire difference. Here's the second reason this pattern is so hard to escape, my friend, and it traps even the men who want to escape it. When an older man decides to try to get back into shape, who does he compare himself to? Almost always, his 35-year-old self. The man he was when he last felt strong. The version of himself who could do 20 pull-ups, run 6 miles, throw a heavy bag around the gym without thinking about it. And here is the cruel trick of this comparison. It guarantees failure before he begins. He goes to the gym. He tries to do what his 35-year-old self could do. His 65-year-old body cannot. He feels embarrassed. He feels broken. He feels like a ghost of who he used to be. So he quits, not because he can't get strong, but because the only standard he was measuring against was a standard he could never reach again, and so anything short of it felt like failure. The men who succeed at being athletic in their 60s and beyond do not compare themselves to their 35-year-old self. They compare themselves to two completely different reference points. First, to the version of themselves who didn't train at all. The 65-year-old who can do 10 push-ups is winning decisively against the 65-year-old on the couch. Second, to themselves 6 months ago. The man who could walk a mile in November and can walk 3 miles by April is becoming an athlete, regardless of what his 30-year-old self could do. This shift in comparison is one of the most important psychological moves a man can make. Once you stop competing with a younger version of yourself who no longer exists and start competing with the version of yourself who would otherwise do nothing, the whole project becomes winnable. Every session is a victory. Every walk is progress. Every small gain is real because you've finally chosen a standard that honors where you actually are. The trap of the wrong comparison destroys more older men's fitness journeys than any injury ever has. Escape it, and almost everything else becomes possible. Now let me tell you the part of this conversation that nobody wants to talk about, because it's uncomfortable. The reason so few men over 60 are athletic is not just because they stopped working out, it's because they started sitting. And the sitting, slowly, methodically, dismantled the body that the workouts used to maintain. Look at the average day of a man in his 60s. He gets out of bed, he sits to eat breakfast, he sits in the car, he sits at his desk, or in his chair at home, he sits at lunch. He sits in the car again, he sits through the evening news, he sits through dinner, he sits through television, and then he goes to bed. If you total it up honestly, the average older man is sitting for 14, 16, sometimes 18 hours a day, and the human body, especially as it ages, was not designed for this. The hip flexors shorten, the glutes weaken, the lower back stiffens, the cardiovascular system, which thrives on regular movement, becomes sluggish. Bone density declines because the body sees no reason to maintain it. The body, in short, begins to assume it is no longer being asked to do anything physical, and it starts deconstructing itself accordingly. Here is the part that is going to change how you think about this forever. Sitting is not the absence of exercise. Sitting is its own activity, and it has consequences. A man who sits for 16 hours a day and then goes to the gym for 45 minutes 3 times a week is not an active man. He is a sitting man who occasionally exercises. The 15.25 hours of stillness on each of those days are doing far more damage than the 45 minutes of training are repairing. This is why so few men over 60 look athletic even when they say they work out. They've solved the wrong problem. The fix is not to exercise harder. The fix is to sit less, to stand more, to walk more, to break up every period of sitting before it becomes an hour, to build a life in which motion is the default state and rest is the exception rather than the other way around. A man who walks 20 minutes after every meal, who takes the stairs, who stands while making phone calls, who works in his garden, who fixes things around his house, who moves continuously in small ways throughout the day, is doing more for his athletic capacity than the gym warrior who is otherwise sedentary. The base of being athletic at 60 is not the workout. It is the day around the workout. Now we have to redefine something, my friend, because the word athletic has been hijacked, and the wrong definition is part of what's keeping older men out of the game. When most men hear the word athletic, they picture a 25-year-old in a gym lifting heavy weights with veins popping out of his arms. They picture marathons. They picture six-pack abs and physical performance that requires hours a day of dedicated training. And so when an older man asks himself whether he could be athletic, he measures himself against that picture and concludes, reasonably, that the answer is no. But that picture is not what athletic means. It's what one narrow, extreme version of athletic looks like. The real definition is much broader, and much more attainable. Athletic, properly understood, means having a body that can do things. Pick up a grandchild without straining, carry groceries up 2 flights of stairs without stopping, get down to the floor and back up again without struggle, walk 5 miles without your knees giving out, lift a 50-pound bag of mulch without throwing out your back. Move through your daily life with energy, strength, and confidence, rather than caution, stiffness, and fear. This is what athletic at 60 actually looks like, and every single component of it is achievable for almost any man, regardless of where he's starting from. The man who can do these things is athletic in the only sense that matters. He doesn't need to bench press his body weight. He doesn't need to run a 6-minute mile. He needs a body that says yes when life asks it to do something, instead of a body that says no, or maybe, or not anymore. That capacity is what gives a man his confidence, his vitality, his presence in a room. And that capacity is, fortunately, very buildable, even from a starting point of years of inactivity. So, let go of the picture of athletic that's been in your head. Replace it with a simpler one, strong enough, mobile enough, energetic enough, a body that has not surrendered its usefulness. That is what we're aiming for. That is what a man over 60 can absolutely have. And that is what almost no other man his age is bothering to build, which is exactly why having it makes him so different. All right, my friend, we've named the disease. Now let me give you the cure. The fix for an older man who wants to become athletic again is not a workout program. It's not a diet. It's not a supplement. It's a sequence, a specific order of operations, and almost no one teaches it because almost no one understands it. I'm going to give it to you now. The first move is walking, not running, not jogging, walking. Every single day, without exception, you walk. Start with 20 minutes, build to 40, build to an hour. Walking is the foundation of everything else because it reawakens the cardiovascular system gently, it lubricates the joints, it strengthens the legs without injury risk, and most importantly, it rebuilds the habit of being a moving body. Until walking is non-negotiable in your day, nothing else will stick. This is the floor. The second move, layered on top of the walking, is strength. 2 times a week. That is all you need. 2 sessions, 45 minutes each, of basic resistance training, not bodybuilding, not chasing the look of a younger man, just the fundamental human movements, pushing something away from you, pulling something toward you, standing up from a squat, picking something up from the floor, carrying something heavy from one place to another. These are the patterns the body is designed for, and the body that practices them stays capable. The body that doesn't deteriorates. You can do this with dumbbells. You can do this with bands. You can do this with body weight. You do not need a fancy gym. You need consistency. The same movements, twice a week, getting slightly stronger over time. That's the whole thing. The men who try to do too much, who chase elaborate programs they find on the internet, almost always quit within a month. The men who keep it simple and consistent keep going for years, and the years are what build the result. The third move is mobility. 5 minutes a day, just 5. The hips, the shoulders, the spine, the ankles. Simple stretches, simple rotations, simple movements that keep the joints alive. This is the cheapest insurance policy a man over 60 can buy, and almost no one buys it. The body that can move through its full range stays young. The body that can't ages fast. The fourth move is recovery, and this is where older men have to be smarter than younger men. Sleep is non-negotiable. 7 to 9 hours every night. Protein is non-negotiable. Your body needs more of it now than it did at 30 to maintain muscle. Hydration is non-negotiable, and rest days are non-negotiable. The man who trains 2 days a week and recovers fully will outperform over a year. The man who trains 6 days a week and is constantly broken down. At 60, the goal is not to train harder. It is to train smarter and recover fully. Walk every day. Lift twice a week. Move your joints 5 minutes daily. Sleep well. Eat enough protein. Give yourself recovery. That's the entire prescription. There is no secret beyond this. The men who do these 4 things consistently for 6 months transform. The men who keep doing them for 2 years become unrecognizable. Not because the protocol is magic, but because the protocol is reliable, and because almost no one else their age is doing it. So, there it is, my friend. The reason so few men over 60 are athletic and the way back. It isn't the body, it's the story you were given, and the wrong comparisons you've been making, and the sitting that's quietly eating away at the foundation underneath you, and a definition of athletic that was never meant for you anyway. Fix those, follow the simple sequence I just gave you, and the body responds. It always responds. The biology hasn't gone anywhere. Only the belief that the biology has gone.